We're two hitchhikers. We met while hiking Mount Baldy with mutual friends, wasted no time, got engaged on a frozen alpine lake, got hitched, and have been adventuring together since. We're embarking on a new adventure of living big in a tiny home. Let's see how this goes.
Adventure awaits.
In the previous episode, we installed the sink, but had to wait on installing the venting system until we were able to get the proper pipes to finish the job. But before getting to that, there's always something to address around here in between the weather. Our awesome neighbors left us a thank you gift for feeding their cows while they were gone. But I'm walking, and it might look kind of weird if I'm walking down the road with a 6-pack. So I'm gonna leave this here and pick it up tomorrow when I come in the truck. But how nice is that? So not expected. I mean, who doesn't want to help their neighbors feed cows in the morning, right? Well, it is a nice, calm, chilly morning. It's about 25 degrees, and Ruben has to go get a couple of things in town, but he left me with these pallets right here. So it's a pallet morning for me, but it's still a little chilly for my personal taste to work in, so I'm gonna have a little bit more coffee and then come out and tackle this project. What is it? Well, I'm basically just adding onto the compost pile. We currently just have the one bin and everything has been composting and breaking down there, but I need to turn it into another box. So I have these, but I want to just see the condition of them first and then see if I need to do any prep work. I may paint them depending on if the paint in our shed has survived the winter thus far. So we shall see, but in for some coffee first. Well, it's still a little chilly outside, so I am going to delay my time on working with those pallets. And it's just as well because I want to prep our pizza dough for the crust for the pizza this evening. So I'm going to use some sourdough discard here. And that noise is actually little Ray keeping herself entertained, which is good because I can focus on this dough here. She likes to play a lot and oftentimes tries to get my attention. So I'm going to take advantage of this now. All right, so I'm going for about 2.5 cups of flour. And I, for some reason, just always use a chopstick when I'm messing with my starter. I don't use anything else. For 125 grams. 24, come on, one more gram, 25. Quarter teaspoon salt. I finished kneading the dough. I think I kneaded for maybe 5 to 7 minutes. I did not actually time it because I was just looking for the dough to incorporate properly, start to develop that gluten and not stick to my hands. Those are the key things I'm looking for. So now I need to feed my starter for the next loaf of sourdough bread or whatever I decide to make with the discard. And then I'm gonna head outside and check on those pallets to see what I actually am working with. I don't make sourdough on a daily basis, so I use the method of just making a very dry starter, covering it with flour, and popping it in the fridge until I'm ready to make another loaf. This starter is actually made from the juniper berries here, from the yeast on the juniper berries. So this is local as it can get for a starter. Now this starter that I have, I just made it this winter. The original one I made is going on 4 years now, I think, and it's with my family down in Southern California. So hopefully I can get a piece of that starter and add it to this one, so that way this one can technically be closer to that 4-year mark rather than just like 3 months. Not that important, but it's just one of those things like, hey, my starter is this old. Maybe one day I'll have a 50-year-old starter. I know that sounds weird to you, for those of you who don't make sourdough bread, but those of you who do, you get it. These are the juniper berries I made it from, so I still have a little bit of the liquid left in case I need to make my yeast starter a bit stronger, but last few months it's been doing great. What I'm struggling with right now are rocks, as usual here, right? So I've got this in the ground and it is not a surface level rock. I am not about to go digging this out just to put this compost pile here. So I'm trying to wedge the pallet in so that I know it's going to fit when I come in with the wood screws and tie it all together. But I'm sort of trying to work around all of these rocks that are in the soil, and it is a grade because our property goes down that way, and I'm trying to balance it out with a 4x4 at the front end. That's what I did with the original piece that's right here, that original bin. So I'm just kind of trying to work this in little by little. Yeah, I like this gray color way better than the blue. Okay, the wind is starting to pick up here, so I apologize if the audio is really bad. Once again, we're on a GoPro that's on its last leg, so the audio is kind of iffy, and the batteries too. Anyway, what I have done, I decided to go ahead and paint the exterior portion to match the casita, plus it gives it a little bit more weatherproofing. And I still have to figure out how I'm going to do the front door aspect, but I'm gonna wait until Ruben gets home to help me with that idea. What I did do inside is I laid down some dry straw and then some dry tree bark just to give it a good ground cover before I actually turn over the compost from bin number 1 into bin number 2. Now the compost is not doing great. I'm a little bummed. Maybe it's been a little too cold. I'm not sure. We've had plenty of precipitation, but it seems dry. I think I need to add a little bit more organic matter, so I'm gonna work on that. I still have a few months before springtime hits and the weather gets really warm, but yeah, if you guys have any ideas of how to heat my compost up, it seems to have a lot of just the dry ingredients to it at this point. Yeah, not sure what's going on, but I will research that. But I need to go inside and check on the sourdough pizza crust. Okay, it's been resting here for about 4 hours and it's looking good. So I just need to shape it, tighten it up, and then when Ruben gets home, we'll roll it out and get ready for pizza time. It's time.
Yes, so the adventure continues. We get to finish sink. And I talked to a couple of plumber friends and told me that this one vent should be enough for us to connect all of our stuff and run it. We shall see. This is the last of this glue.
You helping again? So she's complete.
Hooray!
That was just a little headache.
Yeah, and the wonderful maze of plumbing here.
Well, it's not gonna stink. That's a good thing.
Correct.
All right, Ruben requested a white sauce rather than a red sauce. My plan was to actually do a red sauce. Hence, we're going to have pepperoni with an Alfredo sauce. So I just quickly made a roux, made an Alfredo sauce out of just the basics, and we're going to pop this in the oven and enjoy it by a bonfire outside. So here we go with the toppings.
Ooh, gorgeous.
Sounds like a sourdough crust to me.
Mm-hmm. Flavor is amazing. It's like a deep dish, thin crust deep dish crunch, you know?
The weather's been so wonky. It's like super humid one day and the next day it's
I know.
dry, dry, dry.
Well, tonight's gonna be what, 22?
Is it going to be that cold tonight?
Well, it was 25 this morning.
Yeah, because the storm's coming in tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Better job than I did when I tried it before.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
Just-
look, we have a pretend cutting board.
I know, just as big, just as messy though. Ugh.
Good thing you put your safety glasses on.
I know, that was pretty bad.
We had to seat this restroom sink a bit differently than the kitchen sink. The sink has a sort of a beveled lip, and it's quite significant. It can actually be mounted as a pedestal bowl or as a drop-in. But we didn't want to waste a ton of gloppy silicone on the edges, so Ruben installed it with this mounting bracket system. In this case, he drilled a hole equal to the diameter of the drain. He attached the drain, then added a couple of 2x4s cut to size to lock it all into place. In this way, it can actually all be fairly easily disassembled if we need to switch something out later down the road. In the last episode, we installed the copper sink by dropping it in. We initially thought it was kind of strange that the sink came with no mounting hardware, but upon contacting the company, Syncology, they reassured us that because the edges are flat, it can be mounted as either an undermount or an overmount sink. Since we just wanted an overmount sink, all we had to do was drop it in and secure it with the correct silicone.
And B, I want to make sure it's not gargling. Because if it's gargling, then I have to put stupid air vent on it.
Gargling?
So let's make sure there's no leaks. All right, so far very good. But it shouldn't like look. That's normal. With no leaks. Awesome.
Toilet paper go down the hole.
When you live out in the country, you have paved roads. You make some and then you get stuck in them. So I got mud. And yeah, I gotta get out. Point towards that tree.
The dead one?
Yeah, the dead one.
Okay.
It's Monday, everybody. All right, I'm out of the bog.
Happy Monday, love.
It is happy Monday. I didn't think it was that bad. It is that bad.
Love you. Oy, oy, oy. Okay, now I gotta get out of here. Well, I'm back where I'm supposed to be. You can barely see his truck still heading out of the property. Happy Monday. Now it's time for me to edit this video and get it uploaded for you to see later today. But before I get to editing, check out this sunrise. Well, that wraps up this week's update, family. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.